Hi, this is Gwen Reyes with the inaugural FictionCast. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I know Thanksgiving's just a couple of days away, and what better way to spend some of that time than curling up with one of your new favorite books. I've got six books that I would love to recommend to you today. And the first one I have is this new book from debut author Barbara Stewart called The In-Between. This is a young adult novel about a girl who kind of blends into the background, and then she's in this really horrific car accident, and when she gets out of it, her whole life is completely changed. And it was incredibly captivating. I read it in one day on a road trip recently, and it is incredible the fact that this woman is just her first book, and it made me want more because I was just so riveted. And it's all about a girl who, as she's trying to kind of put her life back together, she finds new friends that may or may not be the best choices for her. Kind of in the same veins, kind of aging ourselves up a little bit, we've got Monica Murphy's third book in her One Week Boyfriend series. This is called Second Chance Boyfriend. This is the conclusion of the story that, if you've been following it, you're probably really, really into it. I did not realize this was a series until I started reading this one, and then I had to go back and read the first two. But that's okay. I don't really necessarily have to read in order sometimes, and this book, because of the fact that the relationship was so established and there was a lot of angst there, it really is really kind of hooks you in really quickly. But what I also really loved about it is it's a new voice in the new adults genre, which I think a lot of people have been really gravitating towards. And Monica Murphy really knows how to write really steamy sex scenes and also keep her characters really interesting. And you'll cry a little bit because the couple does have to go through a lot of tribulations to get to their happy ending. I'm not sure if you guys are anything like me, but I have been counting down the days until Game of Thrones Season 4 starts in March. And because of that, I've been reading a lot of fantasy. And this book, and this is the first book in the King Arthur trilogy by M.K. Hume, who's actually a female author, which I thought was really interesting because we don't see a lot of really strong voices in the fantasy world for women. And this is called Dragon's Child. It's a retelling of the Arthurian myth. So if you're anything like me, you're probably really interested in a little bit of King Arthur's story, but it's got a little bit of a darker twist to it. We really have some really great battle scenes in this. So it's also going to be a really great companion for The Hobbit if you're interested in that, coming out next month. Moving along, we have another kind of high fantasy book, but this is more romantic, and it's more if you're into steampunk. I think this will really kind of appeal to you, but it has more fantastical elements to it. This is The City of Lost Dreams by Magnus Flyte. This is the second book in this series, and again, I did not realize that when I picked the book. I just kind of loved the cover because it's such a great cover, but I did not read this one out of order because with fantasy you kind of need to read them all. But this has a really great romance in it. It follows stories that take place in Vienna and also goes into London, and we have a mixed matching of all kinds of characters from the history books that you'll really enjoy. Now, if you're looking for something for Black Friday for mom or grandma, I think Fannie Flagg is probably a name that all of us are really familiar with. I remember reading Fried Green Tomatoes as a kid after I saw the movie back in the early 90s. And this is her newest book. This is the all-girls Filling Station's Last Reunion. It's a really long title, it's kind of hard to remember, but look how beautiful this cover is. She is a name that any Southern fan probably really knows really well. Fried Green Tomatoes is probably still one of my favorite books, but I would love to recommend this one as well. This would be a fun book to read with your mom or to give to maybe your grandma or a good friend, somebody that may not like all the genre stuff. This is a really good pick. And then we have two final, just kind of rounding it out with romance, because, you know, what keeps you warm at night is a little bit of cuddling. Maya Rodale's The Wicked Wallflower. This was a really fun, cheeky little read. This, Maya is probably one of the better names in the historical Regency romance stories. And this one follows a young girl who she's getting into the marrying age, and she decides that she's going to kind of take her relationships into her own hand by making an announcement about her new engagement. And it kind of backfires because that young man also has a bad reputation, and so he sees his chance of kind of fixing that reputation by kind of corresponding himself with this girl who may or may not be the most boring girl in town, but as he quickly discovers, she's actually a little bit more interesting than you would think. So if you liked Maya's The Wicked Wallflower, she does have another novella coming out next month that also kind of, in January, that kind of corresponds with that, as well as Elizabeth Boyle, who I think many of you guys would know from our recent Readers and Readas. Have Any Rogues was one of our big mainstays during Readers and Readas last month. And the novella is out now, so you can actually just curl up and read it. It's really short, it's really fast little read, and it's a good little knot tire for the series. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Next week we'll have some more books. You can always contact me at gwen@freshfiction.com. You can also follow me at Twitter/RealVixen. You can come to freshfiction.com and make sure you sign up for any and all of our newsletters, get a fresh pick sent directly to your mailbox, and also see what sort of great contests we have coming up. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.